tool, which is fixed assets, or is just only fungible asset. So a party who will benefit from it. So it's like there is a kind of benefit from this contract. Okay. However, the later or the borrower will need to return the equivalent back. We refer to Bank Negara Malaysia and the ICC. They have a policy document on qard. They said it says that qard refers to a contract of lending money. Okay, so SAC use money because most of classical scholars use al-mal. Most of them they use mal. However, some of them they say malu mitli, or some of them they just say al-mal. By a lender to a borrower, where the latter is bound to repay an equivalent replacement amount to the lender. So here in this definition, number one, we refer to the statement whereby he said money. So whether it's a fungible asset or not fungible asset. So it's somehow comprehensive. And then this definition emphasizes or indicates two parties, two contracting parties. The first one is lender and the second one is borrower. Okay, and then we see that the borrower need to repay the money back. So it's not what, of course, in Malaysia, for instance, when you see qard Hassan, it's like you don't need to repay it back again, referring to many verses in Quran. So when we say qard Hassan, it doesn't mean that you don't need to repay it back. So this is for, I think, for general to know that even though we put al-Hassan in qard, it doesn't change the nature of the contract. Okay. And most of verses in Quran that says actually it's not referring to the qard that we are talking about. So when you giving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qard Hassan, it's a metaphor that we need to extend the sense of generosity, the kindness to people. Okay? So in that sense, we can consider it as hiba, sadaqah, and so on and so forth. But whenever we mention al-qard, it's there is an indication that the borrower, okay, need to repay the equivalent, an equivalent to borrower. So referring to classical book, you can see that majority of scholars, we have many definitions based on the mazahib, and each mazhab you can find more than one definition. Okay, so I just, for us to at least go back to the basic. And so aqd al-qard is aqdun makhsus yajidu ala daf'i malin mithli li-akhar liyarudda badala. So in this definition, you underline mal mithli. So mal mithli, that has equivalent. Okay, for instance, money, dhahab, fidda, we consider it as mal mithli because you can find the equivalent. Ringgit Malaysia, USD, any other currency, it has value, it has equivalent. So this definition actually referring to a specific type of money, not all type of money. And then he said, liyarudda mithlahu, in order to pay the equivalent. He didn't say liyarudda qimatahu, because qima is value. Okay. What we consider as qimi, for instance, something that has value, of course, like a laptop, for instance, that value, car, for instance, house, for instance, or even sometimes something that we can consume, something can be consumed. The second definition, which is very short, but a lot of meaning there. It said, tamliku shay bi raddi mithli, bi raddi badala. tamlik. He used the word tamlik. And the tamlik here means that to transfer the ownership of something, transferring ownership. So in this sense, you can see that qard resemble with other contracts, such as sale contract, because sale contract is also transferring the ownership. But the difference here, he said, biraddi badal, in order to repay the equivalent. But in sale contract, there is no such thing. Okay? There is no such thing. So because it's bilateral, whereby one transfer the ownership of the asset and another transfer the ownership of the price of the money. So tamliku shay, in that sense, this definition referring that even qard has the element of transferring the ownership. But as some scholars say, tamlik ibtida'an. So in the first place, the initial stage is transferring the ownership, but at the end is the payment. So the nature of this contract is maybe in between of fully transferred, okay, because you are not transferring without any return. So qard Hassan or qard, even though we use Hassan, as I said, it doesn't change the nature. So qard has the element of transferring the ownership. So when ownership is already transferred, so that person can utilize the asset, can utilize as he wish. You cannot say that, okay, I borrow you money, but don't use it. So what is the essence of borrowing? So in that sense, if you ask someone or you give your money to someone that I use the word qard, but the benefit of the money, of the asset is not granted. This is not qard. Rather, we consider it as what they are, as we mentioned last week. That's why majority of scholars differ in opinion in the sense of what do we call the deposit that we have in the bank? Can we consider it as wadi'ah or qard? So majority of scholars, they consider it as qard because bank use that money, whether we like it or not. Okay? But wadi'ah is when the person does not use the money that we kept with him, okay, or we entrusted. Of course, there are a lot of values, Sharia values, significant for giving qard, because someone might ask, okay, so what's the essence of me giving someone without any return? Okay, in conventional banking, of course, because it's based on borrowing, lending with interest. Okay, so that interest for them is considered as benefit. But as a Muslim, we don't take interest on. Inshallah, we are going to talk about it very soon. There are a lot of hadith on qard that when the era of Prophet Sallallahu used to encourage people to help each other. We have the hadith of them, they put their money, their asset, their provision together, and then they distribute it without any return. But this is part, and this what we are talking, the after that we are talking about is you need to repeat it. So from hadith of Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, Prophet Sallallahu said, every two loans extended by one Muslim to another count as one charitable payment. So it's considered as sadaqah. So even though you give qard, the essence that the person need to repay it back, but if you give two qard, it's equivalent to sadaqah. And I think this is what, as a Muslim, we need to encourage ourselves to give qard. And we don't need to look at what's the monetary benefit in giving out. Okay. And also Abu Hurairah narrated that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever takes people's wealth with the intention of repaying it, Allah will repay it on his behalf. So it means that even though someone give you money, but you need to have intention or determination that you want to pay it back. Tasweef, saying that, okay, inshallah, tomorrow I will give you back, Please, if someone help you, assist you in extending his arm in terms of giving you loan, lending you money, try your possible best to repay it back. And that's why the second phrase of hadith says, and whoever takes it, means loan, in order to use it up for him. And this is how we know that something is haram, something is injustice, when there is punishment behind it. So say Allah will destroy. Essential elements which consider as pillar of qard. As we mentioned earlier, that majority of scholars always go for 3 pillars. By Hanafi school of thought, they only have 1 pillar. Hanafi school of thought, normally they will say the pillar is sira. But for majority, and we are going by majority because their evidence is very strong. So essential element of part 3. The first is contracting party. And this can be inferred from both definition that we just discussed. So the first one is lender, one is borrower. And condition for each is the same condition that we mentioned in sale contract. They must have the ownership. Lender must be the owner of the money. So you cannot lend someone or you cannot give someone another person's money. Okay? So you must own the assets. If you don't own, then the contract is considered as not an. Okay, and the borrower, the same thing, must possess if it has legal capacity to receive that kind of fund. Siga, ijab or qabul. So ijab from an ijab must be concentrating on hard contracts, because if you use wadi'a phrase, for example, awda'tuka, or I give you as a trust, or I give you to keep it, and you assume that he give you as qard, this kind of contract will be not void unless in Hanafi school of thought we have what we consider as tasheehul aqd. So rectifying the contract, hereby you need to come back again, and then in the say you say the sira, and he accepts. Offer him that this is qard, and then he accepts as qard. Okay. And the last one, the money that we mentioned, whether mithli or qimi, but majority of scholars, they consider as mithli. Okay. If qimi, some scholars, they say is considered as i'ara. Okay, i'ara. Some say salam. So these are few synonyms, but there are a few differences. Of course, synonyms for al-qard, sometimes we say as-salaf, especially in Maliki school of thought. Maliki school of thought, they use salaf more than using qard. Dain is also part of it, but dain is general, qard is specific, because dain is not necessarily in form of qard. It can be in form of sale. When you buy something on a loan, okay, this is considered as debt, but it's not qard. Okay, or you buy something but you pay in installment, it's considered debt, but it's not considered loan. Or someone, let us say A, get loan, qard, okay, he take qard from another person, but he cannot pay it back. Then C say, okay, I will pay you. So C now is indebted, right? But he the format or the structure of indebtedness is not from top. Okay, so then in Sharia is more general, wider compared to top. Okay, we have few Sharia issue in qard. So in giving qard, we need to stress that two things must be observed. The first one is that the lender must not impose any extra payment in the contract, whether verbally or in writing. So if lender say, okay, I'm giving you 1,000 USD, but you need to pay me extra. So that extra is considered. The second, also the borrower must not promise in the contract to pay anything extra. So if A get loan from B, and then he say, okay, I will give you 5%, so times, so dates. Yes. Percentage and extra is considered riba. And that's why we have this legal maxim, very famous legal maxim. It's a kullu qardin naf'an fahuwa riba. Kullu qardin that lead to any benefits is considered riba. So that benefit is riba. So that kind of aqd is not avoid. Why? Because it entails riba. Okay, so you cannot give, then you say, okay, you must give me so percentage. No, there is no such thing. Or you get loan and then you promise. Okay. However, if it's something that from yourself, can we consider it halal or haram? Let's assume Muhammad or Alif, okay, Alif get qard from maybe let us say Muhammad, okay, Alif get loan from qard, of course. When we say loan is qard, then Alif voluntarily from himself, he say, okay, I will, or he gave him hiba. Hiba means that you, without the return, you just give as a gift. Is it allowed? Based on what we mentioned, that kullu qardin jarra naf'an fahuwa riba. Any qard that lead to benefits, financial benefit or non-financial, it may not necessarily financial, it may be non-financial benefits, not monetary benefit. It can be in kind. So is it allowed? The answer actually not very straightforward, but there are two things we need to issue. If based on the borrower discretion, then it's allowed. And so when you want to repay it back, for instance, you promise him to pay, maybe let us say, you cannot pay it, okay, this is your 1,000 USD, but this is from myself, please take it. In that sense, there is no any problem. Okay. However, if there is condition, the lender should provide hiba, there is condition. So because condition in contract is considered as shart. So if there is shart, then that kind of contract is ribawi contract. It's not permissible. It's not allowed. And Also, if there is custom among you that maybe in university or in maybe in a company or in any place or community, you know that whenever you get loan from someone and you cannot pay it back at this specific date, you must, it's a must, must not necessarily written, but it's a must based on proof is will lead the aql to be ribawi aql and not for our the benefit from for audience. What bank give? Islamic banks, they usually give hiba. Maybe if you check your account, you will see that, oh, they are giving hiba. Hiba is a percentage. This kind of hiba, many scholars talk about it. If it's something that is written, then it's haram. If something that is conditional, this is also haram, because the underlying contract is called, it's not what they are, as we mentioned last week. So if it is, then it is prohibited. Okay, it is prohibited, whether conditional or by custom. But if voluntarily they just give, then there is no any problem. And whenever you go away and you avoid then you are safe, you are protected. So if you feel that this is shubha, then there is no problem. You don't need to take it. What you need to do is to purify. You do sadaqah, you give it out. Okay? Wallahu ta'ala. Raddul qard, repayment of qard. Because as we mentioned in the definition, there is element that you must repay the qard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that we must pay the amana back. And many verses in Quran emphasizing on this statement that we need to do that. And one hadith whereby Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he said, "Matalul ghani dhulmu, matalul ghani dhulmu," delaying the repayment from someone that is rich. He can pay it back, but he didn't pay. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, we consider that as dhulm, injustice. So injustice, whether there must be ta'zir, there must be punishment, that's another issue. The borrower, the money borrowed under the qard contract must be repaid according to agreed term of the contract. So if you agree on certain or specific terms and conditions, you need to follow them. For instance, they ask you to pay maybe in 10 days. So you must pay it in 10 days. However, if you don't have from Hassan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. Until you are okay, then you can pay it back. So, but in the event that there is no such terms, so at the request, okay, I want my money back, then no problem. You just need to give him or her his or her money back. And in normal circumstances, al-Mithliyyah tu'adda bi-mithliha. Okay, al-Mithliyyah tu'adda bi-mithliha. What means that Mithliyyah, for example, currency, you must pay it back at the same currency. So in the event that the contracting parties agree that the money borrowed under the contract is to be paid in a different, for instance, you get loan from by USD. USD, you need to pay it back in USD. Okay. In RM, Malaysia, Ringgit Malaysia, you need to pay it back in Ringgit Malaysia. In Riyal Saudi, you must pay it back in Riyal Saudi. Why? Because in qaida fiqhiyah al-mithliyah tu'adda lil-mithliyah. However, if because of certain circumstances you part with maybe USD, and then he asks you to pay it in ringgit Malaysian. So you need to refer to the exchange rate on that date, not on the previous dates. Let us say you get part December 2020. Then you want to pay it back, let us say December 2022. And that person asks you to pay in another currency. So what you need to do, you need to base it on prevailing exchanging rate on the dates that you want to pay back. Okay? Not on the date that he gave you qard. If you pay it back, the date he gave you qard, this also in the side of Sharia is considered as riba. Because ribawi item, ulama include fiat money, not only gold and silver. So we need to be very careful. If you want to pay it back, this is based on SSC, this is based on IIIT standard, and based on Majma' Fiqh al-Islami. They allow that if you want to pay it back in different currency, there is no any Sharia issue. But the exchange rate must be the date of payments, not the date of qard. And the date of, if you use the date of qard, this is what some people consider as indexing, when you index the rates. So if you know that maybe, for instance, it might happen that inflation rates, you get qard in dollar. And dollar, inshallah, that time is very powerful. If you want to convert it to another currency, you can get a lot of money. But let us say after 2 years, inflation rate is very high, and then the money is already down. So they say, no, I want to get repayment from the date that I gave you. So you want to go back and say time. No. We don't, Sharia point of view is not allowed. So completion of qard. Number one, qard contract can be completed through settlement of the qard amount, either by way of full settlement of the qard when the amount, the date of maturity. You give back, okay, give you 1,000 USD, and then you give him 1,000 USD. Then no more contract, khalas. Or by early settlements. Early settlement, we know early settlement whereby we have specific date of repayment. And he gave you 1,000 USD, and he asked you to pay it back, or in the contract you. But alhamdulillah, you get money back in 1 week. So there is no problem. It can be early settlement. There is no any problem. Or by hawala to dayn, we call it hawala. Full transfer of the obligation of the borrower to pay the qard to a third party. Now we have Alif, we have Jamil. So Alif borrow money from Jamil. Okay. At the time of repayment, Alif doesn't have money. Then Alif asks another person who is Muhammad. Please, Muhammad, indebted for so person. Can you pay on my behalf? Then Alif transfer the obligation of payments, as we call hawala to dayn. Transfer to third party. Then instead of between Alif and Jamil, is between Jamil and Hamat. So by hawala, yes, the contract can be completed by hawala. Also, full waiver by the lender. This is what we call ibra. Ibra means that, okay, you say, okay, I think your situation, your good. So I think it's okay. I waive it for you. It's not today. And that's what it's not today. It's not. So ibra means that you don't need any money back. You consider it as sadaqah, for instance, also consider it as hiba. And the last one, what we consider as muqasa, full set of qard between the contracting party. The same example, the same people. I'm sorry if I mentioned some names. Adish Alif, okay, qard from Jamil, okay, Alif, Jamil. 1,000 ringgits, 1,000. However, after that, Jamil also maybe borrow money from Alif. Okay, so we have one, this Alif come first, borrow money, and you say, okay, I will pay it back, inshallah, after 3 months. After 1 month, Jamil also need money. So Jamil goes to Alif, okay, Alif, I need 1,000. I will pay you back, inshallah, maybe after 1 month. Then Alif and Jamil, after a few weeks, they say, okay, can we do muqasa? So muqasa is that you waive your obligation on someone in return that he waived the same obligation. Means that both money is the same. So take it from one pocket and put it in another pocket and the same, no need. So what we do muqasa. And normally in banking sector, we do it a lot. We do it especially like interbanking. When one bank, maybe one day they borrow money from another bank. Let us say 1 million USD. Okay. Then after a few days, that bank also need money equivalent. You say, please, can you borrow us? Yes. Then you say settle, set off. So this kind of setting off, we call it muqasa. Al-Muqasa. Maybe later, inshallah, the lecturer can talk about muqasa. We have muqasa jabriyah, we have muqasa jabriyah, we have many juristic point of view. Okay. Okay, this is another contract. Is wakala contract. I don't know whether we can finish, but let us start. And if, I don't want to take much of time. So whenever it's time, please sister let me know. Okay. So we have wakala contract.
Yes, doctor. There has we have about 10 minutes more.
10 minutes. It's not sufficient, but let us start. Okay. Wakala contract is an agency contract whereby we have wakil. Okay, okay, let me go for definition. No more muqaddimah. Go for definition. Definition: wakala refers to a contract where a party as principal, muwakkil. So we have one, consider it as muwakkil, authorizes another party as his agent, wakil. So wakil is agent to perform a particular task on matters that may be delegated with or without imposing of a fee. Wakala, we have principal, muwakkil, the one that give you authority to work on his behalf. And then we have wakil, which is agent that working on behalf of a principal, muwakkil. And normally subject matter will be that you do certain specific thing for me. For instance, it can contract for me or a message. I think like in what Dr. Saheed just mentioned in some, we have like food delivery. It's wakala. You ask, sometimes it can be in form of wakala, whereby you authorize them to work on your behalf. Okay, sometimes it can be another contract, depend on underlying. It can be with fee or without fee. And that's the nature of contract. So it can be with fee. If it is fee, there is different nature. Without fee, other different nature. Okay. If you ask someone, please go to certain person and tell him certain. So that person will be your agent, wakil. It can be wakil for qabul or wakil for ijab in sale contract, for instance. Or in, let us say you want to sell gold, you want to buy. This is one of the instruments that buying gold is very dominant now, online also. So we can use wakala contract in order to rectify this kind of contract. So whereby you deputize someone or you authorize someone to work on your behalf. And let us say, for instance, Alif wants to buy something in Malaysia, but he is now in Saudi. Okay. Another, the seller in Malaysia. But Alif has friend in Malaysia. So if we ask his friend, please go to so person and take that item on my behalf. So that person is wakil for Alif because Alif cannot come to Malaysia. Okay. So we use wakala in many ways, but wakala that we are talking about is mostly wakala ala laysa ala wakala bil ujra. We are talking about wakala bil ujra and wakala without ujra, but not wakala ala al-ashkhas. This ala al-ashkhas, but ala al-a'mal. So to do something, not on person itself, but to do something. Okay, is binding or not binding? Wakala initially is not binding contract. Laysa aqdan laziman, because it's under Uqudul amana contract. But that's basic. However, if there is fee in that contract, it's not more amana contract. It's binding contract. So we have few instances whereby wakala contract can be considered as binding contract. The first one, if involved by of third party, if there is third party right, then this kind of contract is binding. If it's involved fee, and this is what we consider as wakala bil ujra. Wakala bil ujra. So if you ask someone to do something for you, or to deputize you, you delegate him, and then he say, okay, you need to pay me. Give me ujra. In that sense, this kind of contract is binding, because he cannot just say, oh, I'm not doing anymore. No, you must finish it. So otherwise, you need to give him his money back. If there is any, for instance, he lost something because of that default in doing that exercise, that task, then you can ask for compensation. Okay, we call it ta'wil. The agent has commenced the work that it has been authorized to do, and discontinuance of the work will cause the principal or the agent to suffer damage. If both of them, one of already entered into contract, and the principal cannot say, no, don't do anymore. No, I already started. There are fee incurred and energies, many things, time wasted on that. So in that sense, this kind of contract will be considered. And the last one, if the principal and the agent have agreed not to terminate the wakala contract within a specific time. So in that sense, the contract also will be considered binding. Okay, pillars of wakala, as mentioned before, is the same pillars of Aqd, seal contract. Contracting party, the principal, as well as agents. Sira, offer, hijab, as well as acceptance. So we need to have acceptance, and because if you say, I'm afraid of my dignity, I cannot do this. So that's why we need hijab and qabul, so that he give his consent that he can do. Subject matter must be very specified, unless based on the Hanafi school of thought, whereby they have al-wakala al-amma. Wakala al-amma means that I just deputize you to on my behalf in all event, all tasks, anything. So whenever you say something, that thing is binding. For instance, you agent to sell your car, or agent to buy a car for you. Okay, so that's specific because it's on one task. It cannot extend okay, I just want to benefit you, I want to do anything. No. This fuduli is not binding. To sell, just selling. Okay, buy, just buying. To rent out my house, for renting. Okay, that's wakala. But there is wakala amma. I deputize you in all my affair. He can say, okay, yeah, okay, not okay. So when he said not okay, it's binding. Okay. Why? Because this is considered as wakala al-amma. But wakala khasa must be specifically mentioned in the contract. Okay, first, dissolution of wakala demise, dissolution, loss of legal capacity of the principal. So if principal has no more legal capacity, for instance, he deputizes you to sell his car, but now he's not allowed to, or the car is not belong to him anymore. Okay, so he has no legal capacity, or he become insane. He has no legal capacity. So there are many, or he already died. The second is also demise, dissolution, loss of legal capacity of the agent if the wakala contract stipulates that the task shall be personally performed by the agent. And this is with condition. Okay, if principal say that, okay, this person is the one that I deputize, I delegate. So his son cannot do it. If agent died, for his son, agent already died. Can his son continue? No. If the principal already stipulated that this work, this task must be carried out by so person, by himself. So in that sense, so the contract will be dissolved. Also, the principal loses his right to the subject matter, means that he's already stolen, already bought to someone else, or he doesn't possess the thing anymore. But yes?
Yeah, we have reached up the time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shukran, Doctor. MashaAllah. Very wonderful lecture today. We have learned many things regarding wakala, regarding how to deal with the debt that we have borrow from the friend or any person or organization. So Alhamdulillah, thank you, Doctor, for this MashaAllah billion information today. We hope to see you again in the last week, next week, inshallah. And the last week, I hope all participants have to attend. We have attend three where the YouTube and also from the Facebook and live from the Zoom also. So inshallah, thank you and hope to see you next week, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dr. Hassan? Dr. Hassan.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, Doctor?
Alhamdulillah, okay.
Alhamdulillah. So we already done 3 lectures. Now, inshallah, Dr. Hassan is the last lectures today. He will deliver it on comparative jurisprudence.
Yeah.
We know that al-Fiqh al-Muqaran. And inshallah, Doctor may begin with the session today.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I didn't know Brother Mohamed Tukur is raising up his hand. Is it a question to me or to our Prof Habib? I'm not sure. So my time is very sensitive actually at the end. So my participant and listener look to be tired. Maybe some of them now have to go to pray subah, or some of them are on the way, etc. So that's why I didn't know, but Alhamdulillah. Actually, I need to apologize for what happened last time. I hope it will not happen again today, because last time when I was in the middle of the explaining, so my is it computer or my internet suddenly shut down. So hope it will not happen today. And also slide not moving, I was not aware actually. And another thing also, we have so many questions last time. Some question I addressed to it, and some question not so clear to me. So, and some participant was quite unhappy because I'm not addressing to the question. So please allow me, our system moderator, to answer some few questions that I take note of last time. So then later on I can start, inshallah ta'ala. And also
Doctor,
now
you want to answer the question from the previous class?
Yeah, no, many questions actually. The questions, most of them are very, interested and quite related to what I have, what we discussed about. But just few of them, because some of the question are asked several times.
Never mind. Because it is your time. You can answer first, or later on you can answer also can. This is your time. Take your time. Okay.
Thank you very much. I really hope, sister, that at the end, maybe 5 minutes before my time end, I could stop. Then you allow them to ask direct oral question. I prefer this, so that we can have like discussion between me and them. Especially, I'm talking about comparative fiqh, not all like our Prof Habib, just fiqh al-Uqud, al-Maliyyah. So I didn't know if it is possible for you to unmute them at the end, so that we have direct oral question. Regarding last time off, I think Brother Musleh was asked this question several times related to granddad portion inheritance. He said, because I had that Omar wish that if Prophet did not pass away without having explaining 3 things. One of them is there is any portion. Is there any portion for grandfather from inheritance, and does riba al-fadl can be extended to similar item, or it is only limited to the 6 item in the hadith? And next thing Omar mentioned, I forgot, but his main question is, did the granddad has portion or not? So, mashallah, Brother Musleh asked many questions in one paragraph. So I didn't know. Maybe last time I was not aware that he is asking about the granddad. Although what the example I gave last time was related to grandmom. Maybe this question arises because when we are talking about ikhtilaf, disagreement due to doubt over the authenticity of a hadith. I mentioned one example that happened during Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, that a woman came to Abu Bakr and requested him to give her a share of inheritance from her deceased grandson's property. So the Khalifa Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu refused to give any share to her. Since for him there was no any provision known to him either in the Quran or Sunnah providing her such share. So when he consulted some Sahaba around him on this matter, I mentioned that Mughira ibn Shu'bah stood up and said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given her 1/6 of share. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu asked Mughira, is there anyone else with you who had this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Then another Sahabi, Muhammad ibn Maslama, stood up and said, yes, he confirmed what Mughira ibn Shu'bah was saying, that yes, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave her 1/6 of a share. So from this hadith, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after confirmation of Muhammad ibn Salama, there was a consensus between Sahaba that grandmom will have 1/6 as sudus of share. So, but here become consensus between Sahaba after this incident. So this is what also Imam Ibn Qudama in his book Al-Mughni, and Imam Ibn al-Mundhir in his book Al-Ijma'at, and so many scholars mention that there is consensus about this issue, that the grandmom has 1/6. So I think our brother Ustaz Muslih's question is, how about grandmom? Does she have same portion or not? Yes, the question is in this issue. In this issue, yes, also granddad will have, or between the scholars. Why? But with three conditions. It has to be the deceased that didn't have dad, or didn't have also kids, and also no brothers or sister. So in this situation, he will be taken like grandmom. So I think this is what Brother Muslih want me to clarify. I didn't know now if you are okay now with what I mentioned now. So regarding what you mentioned, that it was says that Umar radiallahu anhu says that he wishes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam still alive and clarify three issues in hadith. This is hadith actually in Bukhari. That Umar radiallahu anhu says, ثلاث وددت أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يفارقنا حتى يعهد إلينا عهدا. Then he mentioned three things. Al-Jad. First thing was Al-Jad, the mirath, the inheritance of granddad. Then he mentioned also al-kalala, and he mentioned abwab min abwab al-riba. So here maybe our brother get confusion. So you mentioned if it is granddad will have 1/6 like grandmom in this issue with the conditions that I mentioned. So why then Omar saying this? Omar mentioned Al-Jad because Al-Jad have other issues, not this issue. So Mirathul Jad with Ikhwa, for example, this is a very disagreement issue between Sahaba, whereby someone passes away, no dad, no kids, but he left brothers and sisters. So they call it Mirathul Jad with Al-Ikhwa. So here the Sahaba have two opinions. So some of them, they said that if to say that the deceased leave dead and brothers and sisters, so here the brothers and sisters will not have anything because they will become mahjubun bil ab. So some Sahaba like Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu and Ibn Abbas, they consider granddad to be like to take that position. So means also if someone passes away and leave granddad and ikhwa, so to them that ikhwa will not have any portion. because to them granddad is like that. So they use some ayat in Al-Quran, like they say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned am kuntum shuhada إذ حضر يعقوب الموت إذ قال لبنيه ما تعبدون من بعدي قالوا نعبد يعقوب when he's about to pass away, he tell his kids around him, if I pass away, what will you worship? ما تعبدون من بعدي قالوا نعبد إلهك وإله آبائك إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق. Aba, he mentioned Aba, dad, and the Ibrahim actually not their dad. Is their granddad. Ishaq is their granddad also, but he addressed them with Abba, Ab. So from here, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Ibn Abbas, they say that means granddad can be addressed as dad. I can call my granddad my dad. From this ayah and other ayah also in Surah Yusuf, where Yusuf alayhi salam, he said وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ. وَاتَّبَعْتُ, I follow the millah, the religion or the way of my dad. Then he start with his second granddad, first granddad, واتبعت ملة آبائي إبراهيم, second granddad إبراهيم وإسماعيل واتبعت ملة آبائي إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب. Mention his dad. So means also granddad can be considered as dad. So from here, if someone passes away and leave ikhwa and granddad, according to Abu Bakr and Ibn Abbas, so the ikhwa will not have any portion. So according to the majority of the Sahaba and later on the majority of Fuqaha, they say no. Ikhwa, brothers and sisters with granddad will share 1/6. So in this issue, there is disagreement. But the issue that we are discussing about last week, there is no any disagreement on that. Rather than that, there is consensus, like Ibn Qudama mentioned, and Al-Imam Ibn al-Munzir. So I didn't know now. I intend to make it details like this so that maybe our brother Musleh will be happy today, because last time he was very upset with me. I didn't know. Are you here today, brother Musleh? So hope I answer your question today. I didn't know. Okay. Another question says a single mother and single father got married to each other. Can their children marry each other when they grow older? This question also, last time I failed to understand it actually. Even Prof. Dato Jamil was with me. Also, we read it twice. We couldn't understand it. But I think what who asked the question mean here, I don't know who is this Abdul Salam, brother Abdul Salam, I think. So let me do it like this, and let me give example. Although this question was not related to what I have discussed last time. I didn't know why he asked this question, but let me just say it like this. For example, if my wife passes away, okay, so I married to a widow woman that also maybe her husband passes away. So I have one son with my ex-wife that passes away. For example, Zaid is my son with my ex-wife, and then she also, the new woman, lady I marry, also she have daughter with her ex-husband. Maybe let's say her name is Aina. So I have Zaid. And she have Aina. Then we marry. By the time we marry, Aina become my daughter. Of course, I can never marry to her. She also, Zaid become her son. Right? When Zaid grow up, can they marry together? This is what I understand. Yeah, correct. So if it is like this, yeah, they can marry. There is no, I mean, the hurma is not between the kids. It's between the parents. Between me and Aina, between me and my wife, Aina, who is the daughter to my new wife, or yeah, between me and her, we cannot marry. My wife also cannot marry to my son with my ex-wife also. But between the son problem, although in some tradition, this is not acceptable in tradition. But when we are talking about Islamic law, so there is no problem with this. They can marry. So this is because when you read the ayah 23 in Surah An-Nisa, al-Muharramat حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم وأخواتكم, until the end, Allah mentioned almost 21 women that men cannot marry. So it doesn't mention this. And also Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at 22 and 23 to the ayah, which is Amma, someone cannot marry his wife, and you cannot marry her at the same time while your wife with you. So also Khala, maternal aunt, also you cannot combine her with your wife. You cannot marry her maternal aunt also as well. So that's why after then ayah number 24, Allah says, وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. So which means this question is halal, they can marry each other, although tradition is something and Islamic law is something also. So sometimes something is not, favorable in tradition, but actually according to Islamic law, there is nothing wrong with that. So hope also this question is clear. Let me, another last question maybe, or because so many questions actually. Sister Aliyah asked that I wanted to know about my uncle and auntie were living separate for about 3 years. And this year, my uncle passes away, and was it permissible for his wife to do iddah, waiting period? And they have 4 kids. So I didn't understand what you mean by they have separate. If separate means talaq, they have already separated by talaq, so that means her husband passes away after they separate. So she no need to do the iddatul mutawaffa and zawjuha for this talaq. But if you mean by separate, they are not living, that means she have to do iddah, which is وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا. So she have to do waiting period 4 months with 10 days. So, but I didn't know exactly what you mean by separate. So you need to clarify this. So this is not fatwa. So I'm just explaining to you direct. Okay. Last question, because so many questions. Last question that I can address to. It is unfortunate, this is not question, it is unfortunate these days when the ulama disagree, they attack each other and sometimes even separate masajid. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Yeah, this is true. I agree. Sometimes it happens in some certain community or in some areas, but this is not akhlaqul ulama. So being that we have disagreement, ikhtilaf in certain al-masail al-fiqhiyya, issues related to legal, so we cannot, kufur each other, or you address me as mubtadi, I address you as mubtadi, or we separate masjid. All this is not akhlaq. This is not ethic of ahlul ilm. This is not ethic of ulama. No, ulama, even though they have disagreement, like we see between Sahaba, most of the example I mentioned, they still maintain adab al-ikhtilaf, right? So this, I agree with what you say. We are not supposed to do this. So if they do that, that means they are not really ulama or student of Islamic law. Okay, I think that's all question I can address to. Someone asked what is the share of the unborn child? Unborn child. Unborn child half share, but with the condition if he is delivered, he is delivered, so he will have share. I cannot tell you specific the share, unless it depend on who is there with him. Did he have sister, mom, parent, and on? But he have share if we consider him to be delivered without any problem, means he has been delivered, so he have portion on his late dead property. Yeah, so I think for this I will stop here because almost 12 already. So let's start our class for today. Where is my slide? So we are still discussing about ikhtilaf, the third cause of ikhtilaf between Sahaba, which is ikhtilaf due to the controversy over hadith. I mentioned last time that there are several factors related to hadith which cause ikhtilaf. Factor number one, we finished already, ikhtilaf due to doubt over the authenticity of hadith. I have given several examples last time. Actually, I'm focusing on giving much example because the example shows will tell you also that this is a disagreement issues, so and how to deal with those issues. We move to the factor number two. Factor number two, which is absence of information of hadith. Yeah. So I think from here we will start today. So when we're talking about this second factor which leads to ikhtilaf among the companions, so the absence of information of a hadith causes also ikhtilaf among the Sahaba. In some cases, a hadith was not known to a Sahabi, hence he decided legal problems on the basis of his own opinion or view. So it was indeed not practically possible for all companions to attend the cycle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on every occasion. For the companions learn hadith by memorizing it, except a small number. The hadith, like we all know, the hadith, unlike the Quran, was never recorded in writing during the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ. Thus, if even those senior Sahaba or senior companions like Khulafa al-Rashidin, before Khulafa al-Rashidin, were not aware of all hadith. So no one can claim to be aware of all the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there were many instances where the companions decided legal problems on the basis of their opinion. It is, however, very, very important to note that when the relevant hadith was brought to their notice, they withdraw their personal ijtihad or personal judgment. So this is also akhlaq of Sahaba. So here, let me just give you some few examples, one or two examples related to this factor. Example number one related to iddatul hamil al-mutawaffa anha zawjuha. A woman that she is pregnant and her husband passed away. So her waiting period going to be for how long? Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma and Ali were of the opinion that the prescribed or waiting period of a pregnant woman following the death of her husband will one of the longer period. They call it ab'adul ajalain or aqsal ajalain. So this is because actually we have two verses, one in Surah al-Baqarah and the other one in Surah al-Talaq. The first one in Surah al-Baqarah, توفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهن أربعة أشهر وعشرة. So those women that their husband passes away, their waiting period is 4 months and 10 days. Of course, here we all know that when we are talking about month or number Islamically, we are not referring to any other calendar rather than Islamic calendar. So we are referring to Islamic calendar, which is al-Muqaran, Safar ila akhiri. So Islam is not confirming the un-Islamic calendar, the January, February. No. So because as we know, the Islamic calendar cannot be a month in Islam cannot be more than 30 or less than 29. But in the other calendar, we can see there are a month more than 30, which have 31st or even less than 29, 28. Right. So here, when the verses state يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا, it refers to Islamic calendar, 4 months, for Islamic calendar, 4 months and 10 days. So the other ayah in Surah Al-Talaq says, وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ, so a woman that is pregnant, her iddah is will end when she delivered her baby. So now we have like a kind of contradiction between the two verses, Baqarah verse and Surah Al-Talaq verse. So here, the woman that is pregnant and her husband passes away, her iddah will be used with the first verse or the second one. So like Ibn Abbas and Ali radiallahu anhuma, like they use the two hadiths. They say her waiting period will be with the longer period. Namely, these two verses that I mentioned, 4 months and 10 days, if she gives birth within that period. If not, until her childbirth. So this is the ijtihad of Ali radiallahu anhu and Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. So I didn't know if this example is clear for you. For example, according to them, if woman, for example, is pregnant, then her pregnancy is, let's say, 7 months, and her husband passes away. So here, according to them, ab'adul ajalain, the longer period is what here? Can someone? Oh, sorry, you are not allowed to tell. So if when her husband passed away, her pregnancy is 7 months. So which one is more longer? Delivering or 4 months and 10 days? So here, 4 months, because I mean, if she is just 7 months, that means in 3 months' time she will be delivering. So that means the 4 months, 10 days is more longer. So here, according to Ali radiallahu anhu and Ibn Abbas, her iddah will be used with the ayatul Baqarah, 4 months, because it is longer. Another example, if to say her husband passed away while she is pregnant, so her pregnancy may be just 2 months, for example. So here, which of the two period is longer? Here, delivering is longer because she still have another 6 months or even more to deliver. So her iddah period will be considered with the delivery when she gives birth. So this is how ijtihad of Ali and Ibn Abbas was. So this is that they were not aware of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in case of Sahabiyya Subay'ah al-Aslamiyya. This hadith in Bukhari, narrated by Bukhari, who is Subay'ah al-Aslamiyya. She reported to have said that the iddah, the waiting period for her, for this kind of lady, which her husband passed away and she is pregnant at the same time. So her waiting period for her was fixed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until her childbirth. So in any situation, this hadith in Bukhari. So that is why the majority of the Sahaba use this hadith. So, but Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu and Ali, they were not aware of this hadith. So regarding fuqaha also, they divided into two. Majority of them were with the majority of the Sahaba, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Shafi, Imam Ahmad. But Imam Malik here stood to the opinion of Ali and Ibn Abbas. However, something very important here, Al-Imam Ibn Abdul Barr in his book, At-Tamheed, he reported that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma has lived this opinion. So he have changed. He was saying that is the long period because he was not aware of this hadith, but later on he is aware of this hadith, then he changed his opinion. So we can say this, the first opinion is just for Ali radiallahu anhu, because Ibn Abbas, as said by Imam Ibn Abdul Barr, he has lived that opinion. And this is something beautiful from Sahaba when they know the truth. So they will just admit and leave their previous ijtihad. This is very good. This is something the contemporary scholars and ulama and students of Islamic law supposed to be doing also, not to be arrogant or to stick to your opinion no matter however. So so I think this example is illustrate to you the absence. If we may ask question, what lead to this ikhtilaf between majority of the Sahaba and these two Sahabi? You will say absence of information of a hadith. Another example. It was stated that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu held the opinion that the fasting of a person who had a wet dream is not valid. If someone sleep and many he dreamed, many came out from him, so he want to fast, so his fasting is considered invalid. This is the opinion of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. So this is because he was not aware of a hadith reported by Aisha and Salama. They say that at times Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to get up in the morning in the state of junub, in the state of major ritual impurity, after having sexual intercourse with his wife. He will then take a bath and fast or continue his fast. This is hadith sahih narrated by Aisha and Salama. So we contradict with what Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu we contradict with his view just now. So later on, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu was informed Salama. So he changed his view and opinion, saying that both of them are more knowledgeable about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam than him. So this is something also very good. So at the beginning he have a different opinion, but later on after he was informed, he changed his opinion. So I think this with these two examples. I have other many examples, but due to the time factor, I think these two examples already made it clear for you. So we move to the factor, the last factor, factor number 3, ikhtilaf or disagreement owing to contradictory report of a hadith on the same issue. Sometimes a hadith will be reported on same issue, two hadiths, contradictory. So on occasions, two contradictory hadiths were reported from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some companions follow one of these hadiths, while the others follow the other hadith because of this ta'arud, contradictory. So let me just give you one example. I think hadith on usury al-riba provide the best illustration on this point. I think Dr. Habib mentioned this hadith several times. So this hadith was narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, reported by Ibn Abbas on the authority of Usama ibn Zayd from the Prophet. So Ibn Abbas didn't have this hadith direct from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, Ibn Abbas reported on the authority of Usama ibn Zayd from the Prophet, Usama from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that there is no riba except on loan. no riba except on loan. So hadith fil Bukhari, la riba illa fil nasi'ah. So this is the hadith that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu reported from Zayd ibn Usama ibn Zayd, that there is no riba except on loan. But Abu Ubaidah or Al-Ubadah ibn As-Samit and Abu Saeed al-Khudri and Uthman ibn Affan and Abu Hurairah, those Sahaba reported the famous hadith of riba in 6 commodities or 6 essentials in hand-to-hand transaction. The hadith those provided that al-dhahab bil-dhahab, al-dhahab bil-dhahab, gold for gold, wal-fidda bil-fidda, silver for silver, wal-qamh bil-qamh, wheat for wheat, wal-sha'ir bil-sha'ir, sha'ir barley for barley, wal-tamr bil-tamr, dates for dates, and wal-milh bil-milh, salt for salt, must be equal for equal, hand to hand. So I think this hadith in Muslim, the first one muttafaq alayh, the one the hadith Ibn Abbas la riba illa fi nasi'ah, muttafaqun alayh, narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, and this one narrated by Muslim. So both hadiths are sahih. So here we have a contradictory report of a hadith, which lead Ibn Abbas was held of the opinion that there is no riba, just for loan, no riba except on loan. So, and this hadith, the second hadith, is proving that no, there is other riba, that it is called riba al-fadl. So that means transaction in these commodities or 6 essential must be, in other words, be without excess, shut up, or on either side, and delivery immediate. Otherwise, the transaction will amount to usury, which is forbidden, riba al-fadl. So that means if you want to sell gold to gold, it has to be with 2 conditions. Otherwise, you are commenting riba al-fadl. It has to be, there is equal. Okay, for example, if a woman have old gold, I'm a gold seller. She want to sell her old gold to purchase new gold. So you cannot do that unless with 2 conditions. If you want to do this, then it has to be equality. If the old gold is for example 20 grand, so also the new gold that you will be exchanging also has to be 20 grand. So sawa'an bi sawa, mithlan bi mithl. Condition number 2 has to be hand to hand. So we cannot do it online or something like that. It has to be hands to hand. You give me, I give to you. Otherwise, if for example you give me 10 grand of old gold and I give you 10 grand of new gold, so this is riba al-fadl. So, and this happened a lot in our community today. So this is some people may ask how to do it, how to escape from riba. So it's very simple. Ulama mentioned that if you want to do that, you just go to market to sell your old gold, take your money, then go and buy new gold. So with this, we are not commenting riba al-fadl. So it is narrated, however, according to Ibn Abbas' view, riba will just be in loan. But however, also here it was reported that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma had already changed his opinion on that after he is aware of this hadith, the second hadith that we mentioned. So like I say, this is because the ethic of Sahaba is that when the relevant hadith was brought to their notice, they withdraw their personal opinion or personal ijtihad. And this is what we're supposed to be doing also as well. So I hope this example also is very clear. Another example, this one I'm not mentioning in my slide, but I think it's very famous example. Example related to if someone touches his private part, while he is on wudu, is his wudu still considered valid or not? So, massu dhakar, hal yanqudu al-wudu am la? So this is another example that also we can give here. There were two contradicting hadith reported from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on validity of ablution of a person who touched his sexual organ. The first hadith was man massa dhakarahu falyatawadda. Busra ibn Safwan, that she had the messenger of Allah saying, he who touched his penis should perform ablution. Of course, here male and female are both same here. In other hadith reported by Abu Hurairah, the same view or rule is reiterated by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, if anyone touched his private part of his body, if there is no cutting, so direct touching, here we are talking about direct touching. If there is no cutting or wrapper between them, he should perform ablution. So means if you touch it not indirectly, so your wudu is not considered invalid. So here we are talking about direct touching. So in other hadiths, or because of these two hadiths that I mentioned, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma and Abu Hurairah himself and Ibn Abbas, Aisha, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqas, and other Sahabas were of the opinion that wudu will be invalidated if a person touched his sexual organs and must take a fresh wudu or ablution for prayers. So this hukum is based on the two hadiths that I mentioned just now. Whereas Ali and Ammar ibn Yasir, Ibn Mas'ud, and other Sahaba hold the opposite view, relying on other hadiths, on this hadith on hadith Qais ibn Talq, on the authority of his father, reported, we came upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A man came to him. He seemed to be Bedouin. He said, Prophet of Allah, but after performing ablution, Rasulullah ﷺ replied, that is only a part of his body. So this hadith means your wudu is still considered valid. So the Sahaba that we mentioned, Ali, Ammar, Ibn Mas'ud, they work with this hadith, the second hadith, whereas the other Sahaba I mentioned also took the first two hadiths I mentioned. Fuqaha same also. Imam al-Shafi'i upheld with the first hadith, Masab Abu Hanifa, and also Imam Malik, also riwayah also, and Ahmad, they uphold with the second hadith. So some ulama try to combine between two hadiths. So they say if you touch with shahwa, then you need to, your wudu is considered invalid. If not with shahwa, then your wudu is still valid. But if you want to wudu, it will become mustahab. So this is how the ikhtilaf happened between Sahaba and later on between the fuqaha. I think my time is already finished. So I didn't know if anyone has any question. One or two questions, then we can end our session for today, inshallah. Inshallah, next time we will continue. I'm very sorry also, I'm quite slow in explaining, but everything is there, I think, in my slide that I prepare, inshallah, and it will be shared with you by the moderator, inshallah ta'ala. So am I already, sister?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So I want to ask if anyone want to ask. So if anyone want to ask, you can raise your hand. Because we cannot unmute all.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. If they want to ask, then they can raise their hand. So I will open for one or two questions.
Okay, that's good. Anything in the chat box?
In the chat box, no,
Okay.
doesn't have in the chat box.
Okay.
There is,
So
okay,
there's some people raising their hands.
Hakim.
Oh.
Okay, okay, Hakim, you can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, brother.
Alhamdulillah. First, I want to thank Dr. Hassan Suleiman for this wonderful work. Now, for those of us who are students of knowledge, when we are confronted with all these ikhtilafats, and we don't know the one that is arjah, we don't know how to say this is the one that's arjah, and we pick anyone, are we going to be penalized for this?
Okay, thank you very much. Brother who, just now?
My name is Hakim Kolawole.
Yeah, you're welcome,
I'm
brother.
from Nigeria.
From Nigeria, you're welcome. Thank you very much for this wonderful question, a very good question. But in this situation, brother Hakim, we will not say that you should pick up any opinion that your heart chooses. No, this is not correct, because Allah mentioned فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So if here, in any issue, could be maybe issues of ikhtilaf at the past or contemporary issues, you need to refer to your ulama, or whom you think that they are expert in fiqh and in usul al-fiqh, and they have fear of Allah also. This, you have to consider this. So there, those kind of ulama, you can refer to them to ask them, okay, there are certain khilaf, aqwal in this issue. So which one you think is the arjah, like you mentioned? So this is if you are not qualified to choose the preponderant opinion, right? So, but if you are qualified to do that, last time we mentioned what is tarjih, the definition, the condition of tarjih, and so on. Like, right? I didn't know last time if Brother Hakim you attend. So we mentioned this. You can find this in my slide also. So in this situation, if he is not qualified to reach to the preponderant opinion, so what he need to do here is to ask a great scholar, or who you think he is sheikh and he has the qualification and taqwa to give you fatwa without any fanatical ideas or intentions. So I think this is what you're supposed to do. Like Allah mentioned clearly, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Here, some people may tell you, okay, you follow your madhab. If you are from Nigeria, you are from Africa, then you just follow Maliki. So you may not know what Malik also say in that issue, right? So maybe in issues like ibadah, salah, that every day you used to repeat, but in certain issues, mu'amalat, hajj, siyam, right, brother. So you may not know. So that's why I will not say, you should abide with your mazhab, unless if you know. So the right thing to do is فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Maybe you may be expert, Brother Abdul Hakim, in certain field. So if I didn't know, I will refer to you, right? Dr. Habib may be expert in Islamic financial, contract and so on and so on. There are issues, I refer to him. So you ask expert. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Even the expert, the faqih or the sheikhs give you a wrong fatwa, you will not be questioned about that in the day of the judgment. He will be responsible for that fatwa, not you. But when you are choosing your hawa nafsu, following what your heart wants, so here you will be responsible yourself in front of Allah in the day of the judgment. Wallahu a'lam. Wa iyyakum ya akhi. Another question, sister? Sister?
Okay, Brother Suleiman.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I really want to thank Dr. that giving us this wonderful lecture. Actually, I'm from Nigeria.
MashaAllah.
The question that I really want to ask is, what will be the position of our POS today? The change of money with money. A person will come and give you money in exchange of the money. That is my question. I have two questions, but one, it has been already been answered in your lecture. That's my answer. And I pray Almighty Allah to give us the wisdom of understanding of this lecture that you have given to us.
Thank you very much, brother Suleiman. MashaAllah. Thank you for your comment and for your question. And may Allah reward us abundantly, all of us, reward our effort, Ya Rab. Actually, the question you asked, you're supposed to question Dr. Habib, then comparative fiqh, right? So I think maybe next class, Dr. Habib is with us. Maybe he will address to this question. Let me leave it to Dr. Habib. You are talking about exchange, right? Exchange, right? For example, from Nigerian currency to dollar, or from Mauritian currency to other currency, right? Right. Is it a